Fans, welcome to Sports Chat. Today we're sitting here at Jason's Video, adjacent to lovely Papa John's. We're waiting on our pizza, and we're getting ready for football season to really get cranked up.
Yeah, it's pretty much starting out tonight. Jacksboro on the road at Norris, La Follette hosting Clinton at home. Clinton moves back into the district this year. Several year absence. Clinton's usually a good program, though, and I really expect more of the same with Clinton being a championship contender in the district.
They are a tough team. Of course, Campbell County's playing Carter tonight over at Central in what was once the Neyland Stadium Jamboree.
Yeah, they got moved out of Neyland Stadium. Cougars will play for a quarter. Last year they played for a quarter against Catholic. I think it was 7-6 final. It doesn't really matter what the score is. It's just good exposure for the program and for the kids out there.
Yeah, and they're playing Carter, which is a strong team from last year. They went far in the they had the big battle with Fulton. They were both undefeated when they did it.
Yeah, Cougars scrimmaged Fulton Tuesday night.
They drove the ball 80 yards on Fulton.
Drove the ball 80 yards, got a score on Fulton. Fulton got several scores on the Cougars, but Fulton is arguably the best team in the state most years. They're right with Maryville and a couple of teams from Middle Tennessee like Ensworth. And Fulton's going to dominate through. I expect they'll probably win another state title again this year. They've won 5 or so in the last few years.
News Sentinel put out their rankings today of programs. Campbell County was number 10 in the, I guess, the prep extra area is what we'll call it.
Yeah, that counts all divisions too, so that's a pretty high ranking. I believe Campbell County is also 10th in several of the state polls that I saw.
Also, Ethan Jeffers, Joseph Elkins been named as players to watch. We've got, a lot of new faces to watch on the middle school level, several new ones on the high school level this
year. Yeah, it's going to be vastly different, looking at Jacksboro and La Follette both this year. Both have new coaches. I mean, La Follette, you hate to say it's more, they're more used to dealing with it, I guess. They have to change coaches every couple of years, it seems like. So, I mean, we just, if you hope, as for La Follette, the new coach can get things going in the right direction and make some good choices.
And he was on the staff last year, so he's not.
There should be a more smooth transition.
JT's still with them, I know.
Than having to replace the entire staff. So you hope that it does that for the kids. You hope everything works out well for those guys up there. They put a lot of work in, and at least Honeycutt pretty much gave his beginning 6th graders an entire year. I mean, an entire career with him as a coach. He lasted 3 years there, so they were 6th, 7th, and 8th graders all underneath him. And I guess he just felt like, that was enough coaching for him for now, so he's moved on to another level.
Of course, Mike Miller at Jellicoe leaves Peel in charge. We touched on that a little bit last time around.
Yeah, we talked to Peel this week. He was pretty high on his quarterback, Zach Sulfridge. He's a young kid. He's a 7th grader, but he was high on how smart the guy is. And if you've got a smart quarterback, as you see in Jeffers up at the high school, if your quarterback's smart, you've got a good chance of doing well with your program for that year. It still may be a bit of a rebuilding year and a transition year for both programs in the county.
It's going to be one of those two. It's playoff system's a little bit different this year because of the divisional realignment.
I feel that both teams are going to make it because I want to understand there's 7 teams in the district and 6 of them are going to make the playoffs. So there's a good shot that both teams are going to make the playoffs.
There'll be, of course, 2 rounds of playoffs before the title game this year.
Yeah.
And speaking of playoffs, the high school football landscape is about to change after this week's TSSAA meeting.
Yeah, that was a rumor for about the last 6 months, and they actually did put it into place, approved the plan. Huge change for Campbell County. You move out of the district, you move Anderson County out, you move Clinton out, drop those 2.
That'll be a 4A team each.
They drop down. You got Oak Ridge, Carnes, Powell, Halls, Campbell County, and Central, I believe, making up a 5-team district, 4 of which will make the playoffs. So as long as Campbell County can maintain a program better than Halls, and Halls is really, really bad right now, Campbell County may be an annual playoff team pretty much every year.
And there's some other things. They moved the big 30, the Super 32.
Yeah.
32 biggest schools in the state. But that's not necessarily what that district's going to wind up being.
There's looking to be a little change, possibly rumors anyway, that Maryville is going to move up into 6A, even though they're not one of those 32 teams, and that William Blount, who is one of those 32, is going to move out.
Which would put them in the same district as West, Bearden, Farragut.
And that would be huge for Campbell County in the playoff thing. When you have to deal with West and Maryville both in your playoff bracket, that's pretty tough to get out of.
But the way this playoff is probably going to be structured, since we'll be a 2A, we'll be in the 1A, 2A bracket starting out. So, you know, it potentially, you know, a chance to make the third round of the playoffs, not out of the question at this point.
You can get some good advancement, but that is a huge roadblock when Merrill's in your way at any level. This year, though, it's the regular format, same as we faced the last few years, same schedule. Last year, maybe, of the Anderson County game. Honestly, the Anderson County people are so cantankerous about that game. I don't know if they'll reschedule as a non-conference game.
I'd say it'll be the end of that series.
I mean,
Clinton might continue on.
The rivalry got heated in the last few years, but I mean, Anderson County wasn't really a rival because we never played them for years. But for the current couple of generations, it has been a pretty big rival. But yeah, that will be over potentially. Who knows whether Clinton will re-up or not? But that would look. You have 10 games in a season, and there's 4 other teams in your district, so you're going to have 6 non-district games rather than the current 2 that we have.
You know, that gives you a chance to renew some old rivalries too.
You can keep your regional rivalry with Cumberland Gap. You can go back and play a Scott County or an Oneida, because we used to play Scott County quite a bit. You can, you know, schedule Clinton as a non-conference game. You can even schedule AC if they're willing to do it as a non-conference game. And then it gives you some other opportunities. You know, maybe play Claiborne County High School. Maybe play Union County. Maybe go back to Crossville and play Cumberland County again. There's lots of teams in the area that line up well.
Yeah, maybe keep a game with Gibbs even.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because Gibbs will be moving out.
Yeah, Gibbs also is the other team that moved out. I'd forgotten about that. But yeah.
Another big football thing is there are now 2 TV games this year.
Yeah. Of course, we had the rivalry Thursday night game on VLT against Clinton when that rolls around, and they announced that Oak Ridge
It'll be the Friday night game on
WBI on Friday night. So Campbell County at Oak Ridge. That's probably going to be a madhouse if Oak Ridge really has bounced back. A lot of people are saying they're going to bounce back pretty big this year.
Should be interesting to see what Oak Ridge's crowd looks like, because last time we went to Oak Ridge, that crowd was sad.
Yeah, it was a rainy night. Oak Ridge was only, you know, maybe 7-2 at the time. So
I've been to a lot of games at Blankenship Field, and that is the emptiest. I've seen middle school games with bigger crowds.
It was strange. Oak Ridge usually has a very loyal fan base that actually not only fills up their stadium, they'll go on the road and fill stadiums up on the road. Basketball, football, every sport is like that usually with Oak Ridge. Let's say it was a kind of a cold, rainy night, but still, you know, you should probably come support your team if you can.
Of course, Campbell County was there in force.
Oh yeah.
Of course, there's other sports: volleyball, cross country, girls soccer, and golf are all in progress. And I think we hope to have a little bit on all those sports in upcoming episodes.
We talked to Coach Ann Browning and Coach Billy Evans the other day, and there was a cross country meet Saturday that they were speaking of. And those people practice hard. That's a dedicated sport when you get into cross country.
That's one of those things. The volleyball team, for example, they play their games at Jacksboro Middle School right now because of the issues with the gym.
The gym being shut down, all basketball, volleyball activities are now played at a middle school or elementary school site throughout the county, and hopefully they can get that resolved before basketball season starts, but it's going to be borderline. The Cougars may be having to play their home games at one of the local elementary schools.
You know, but strange as it seems, La Follette and Carroll Elementary have a much bigger gym than either middle school.
Well, they're brand new schools, so that doesn't surprise me. I'm not sure if they can quite handle the high school crowd that we usually get, but maybe it'll look like a completely stuffed house in those places.
Also today, Justin Morley was named starting quarterback officially.
That doesn't really surprise me. He's a senior. He played okay last year. I wanted Josh Dobbs to be able to come in and take the job and play well enough and improve enough to clearly take the starting job. And so it doesn't surprise me. It's not in my opinion the best news you could get. I mean, I don't know that Worley could have improved that much, or he just seems to have a ceiling and he seems to have played at it often. But so I hope Josh Dobbs was going to come in and establish himself, but apparently he just didn't manage to do it.
Of course, that's not to say that halfway through the season Josh Dobbs isn't their quarterback.
And that's with the injuries that Tennessee's been faced at quarterback the last few years. They may play 3 or 4 quarterbacks in a year, and the struggles they've had.
Also, speaking of both district football and quarterback, Jalen Wood is officially ineligible.
And tough news down in Clinton for that. Maybe tough news for UT.
And it is an academic issue.
Did see that another transfer in the district happened. I guess it's half dozen of one, 6 of the other. I won't say he's a Tennessee commitment
He's
from
a Tennessee
Powell.
commit from Powell.
He transferred to Oak Ridge, 6'6", defensive end, wide receiver. That's a pretty big transfer.
Of course, Powell's such an odd football bird.
Powell has the talent very often, and loads of it, but they change coaches more than any other team I've ever saw in my life. I mean, Campbell County used to change coaches a lot. There was 3 when I was in high school. But Powell, for a successful program, changes at almost that level. Haven't they had 3 coaches in the last 3 years at Powell?
They have. Well, between their years at Campbell County, there were actually 4 coaches.
Yeah.
That's how bad it used to be here.
But I mean, Powell was competing for state championships and changing coaches that often. They had a coach that finished runner-up in the state, and he was gone.
That speaks a lot of the talent at Powell.
And had another coach. I want to say they won 11 or 12 games and advanced to the state semifinals, and he was gone. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the bad working conditions there or what, but there's a lot of coaching turnover, so you never know what to expect. You know they're going to have talent, but you just don't know how it's going to be coached or how it's going to work out because it's so up and down with them in the coaching front.
Other places around the region, area, of course, Cumberland Gap is next week. We'll get a little bit on it and the fact that Cumberland Gap should be a win for Campbell County.
I can't imagine it not being. I mean, it was a pretty big beating last year, and I can't imagine Campbell. I mean, Campbell County lost some key players, obviously. I don't think they lost enough that Cumberland Gap can overcome that much. High school football is volatile, and 1 or 2 players can make a big difference. I don't know that Cumberland Gap's got any big-time difference-making playmakers that's going to overcome a 45-6 game from last year.
And they've lost Rusty Providence in the meanwhile.
Yeah, lost him. They have the younger Providence, though, probably is about a senior, I would think. Who's a good defensive tackle. But
of course, we'll be up there for that one, providing total coverage.
Yes.
The middle schools by next week will be in full total football coverage mode.
Prepare. Go to the Follett games. I guess Jacksboro does not have a home game until August the 28th, I believe it is.
Which is not next Thursday, but the next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe they have 2 or 3 on the road to start out with. So, they may be in a tough spot, before they can even get a home game.
They started out with the top team in the district tonight.
Yeah, Norris, from what I've understood from the coaches around the area, Norris is right there with Oneida, if not better than Oneida this year, or what they expect anyway. I mean, Oneida put them out of the playoffs last year and won the district title. Yeah. I mean, until someone knocks Oneida out of that district championship, they're going to be the champions. Jacksboro did beat them last year, but failed to them in the championship game. But we'll see if Norris can do it, as now apparently the favorites and what appears to be the most talented team.
And with Clinton back in the district, that's a big obstacle in the district. Clinton was Jacksboro's foil for many years when I coached there.
Clinton's always a good team. So they provide good players. It's always strange that it never translates that well up to the Clinton High School. I mean, it's not in years anyway, but yeah, they feel some good teams.
A lot of their players go to Grace Christian.
Yeah, probably a lot of them go to Oak Ridge or Anderson County too. It's just one of those things where it's hard to have three good teams in a small area. Campbell County is very fortunate to have pretty much a captive audience for its football and its football players now, especially now that they no longer transfer to Anderson County.
Right. The prices have made such a difference here. it would be really crazy for anybody to ever try to jeopardize having them as coaches here.
Yeah, yeah. That would be, career suicide for you if you're a, school board member or
administrator
of any kind. I mean, you don't mess with people's football, and you don't mess with those guys. They're the most popular guys in the county that I know of.
They really are. And while we're on here, I do want to give a shout out to our host tonight, Jason's Video. This place is pretty nice to be able to actually come and rent videos from a store again.
If you got video needs, video games, he's got game systems. He's got everything you need to come down here. It's very, very reasonable priced. He works with you. You can come in here. Several great movie packages and great game packages. He just got stuff everywhere in here.
There's there's a PlayStation 1 for sale I'm looking at. A couple of Atari plug-and-play systems.
The thing is, actually got maybe an old school Atari even. He's got about anything you can want down here, and if he doesn't have it, you tell him what you want, and he'll get it for you.
There's a very good selection. There's new movies, classic movies. Stuff you don't get from going to a big red cube at a box store.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff here that's buzzing with customers right now. So apparently,
so forgive any background noise.
Yeah, apparently everybody really enjoys it down here. So come on down here. Jason's good to us. He'll be good to you.
And while you're down here, you get some Papa John's pizza to
fill up on Papa John's, because we're about to fill up on Papa John's.
And take your Papa John's home and watch your movies.
Best pizza.
Life don't get better than that.
But that's it for this week, I would think. Unless you have something else particular you want to say.
I'm good. Next week, hopefully, we'll be coming to you in a little bit better resolution.
Still looking for the camera to arrive. Still going on the laptop, so forgive our sound quality and video quality. But so we'll come back with the actual camera soon, and next week maybe delve into a little bit more.
May even have a guest next week.
Maybe some NFL stuff too next week. It's fantasy season starting up, fantasy draft season. So I know I've got mine planned out, but we'll talk about some of the preseason NFL stuff.
I've got a lot of plans for this year in fantasy.
You do love your kickers.
Fans, we will see you next week.
Thank you.